Hey y'all, grown black folks talk. What the struggle within Black Lives Matter tells us about what to listen for before passing across our money. I may condense that for the title, but that's what I want to talk to you about today. Now, normally I would come in here and try to unbreak the news, except I can't because I'm not sure anybody understands completely what is going on. I know that to many people in the Black community, Black Lives Matter was a moment of that hashtag, and that moment was very important. So I'm going to try to be sensitive to the fact that I know the difference between the hashtag, the movement, and the Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation, and now Black Lives Matter Grassroots. Those two organizations are now in civil proceedings against each other because apparently the secretary of the Global Network Foundation made himself the sole board member and walked off between somewhere between $2 and $10 million. And so Black Lives Matter Grassroots is now opening civil proceedings. The only thing that makes this so complicated is we know that they raised $90 million. So even if we can account for 2 to 10, this leaves the question of what happened exactly to the other 80. There is a YouTuber by the name of Susan Woods who was tracked down about what happened to about 30 of that. But this would still leave 60 million or so outstanding somewhere. Meanwhile, we know that Patrice Coolers, who's one of the founders, is out here buying houses and having parties. So that would count for a significant chunk more, but we don't know because we don't have the paperwork. So I can't say for certain what's going on, but I do know how this is being played because I'm reading in the comments and black men are coming in and talking about, yeah, this is black girl magic, see? And I'm like, did you not notice that the person being sued is not a woman but a black man? And see, this is where the argument gets off the track. I'm not interested in having the argument, but I can tell you what's going to happen. Any of y'all have been involved in a civil lawsuit and had to produce documents for discovery? I've been through that. My side won. It was still difficult. I had to come up with 4 years of documents and produce them by a certain day at a certain time. And don't let the court find out you withheld something. Don't make a mistake either. Oh no, no. It ain't that kind of party, y'all. Oh no. And what happens with documents you put up in discovery, these things show up in evidence to argue about with lawyers, meaning they're going to be publicly examined in the courthouse. So whatever you did or did wrong becomes part of the public record. See, the thing that I look at is that, yes, we're going to have more knowledge of what goes on after the civil suit, but I'm sitting there to y'all think that you can really afford to have all your stuff examined? It may not be worth your trouble, but when someone over here walked off with this many million and someone over here walked off with this many million and other people don't feel like they got their proper cut, there's likely to be problems. Because here is the problem. And this gets to the only thing I can really talk about because I don't have any more clue what's going on for certain than anybody else. Ask yourself this question. Since Black Lives Matter, the hashtag became a thing, and since 2020, when that $90 million was collected after the death of George Floyd, ask yourself actually 2 questions. How much of that money went to the families of the victims that Black Lives Matter was supposed to be acting for? And how much did you see corrected in the Black community as a whole? Sub question, did you see $90 million worth of it? I'll wait. All of us want to be part of being with people who we feel understand where we're coming from and believe what we believe. Coming together is sometimes a form of giving each other comfort. And I'm not saying that there isn't value in protest. But I am saying, like I said, you have to listen for wisdom everywhere. Part of listening for wisdom is listening for practical solutions. Unless you are interested in putting your money up for entertainment and coping strategies on serious conversations instead of conversations that will fix the problem, what you have to learn how to do is not give people money unless they're giving you practical solutions that have some time honor and some time test to it. See, people know about us demographically that we will spend a lot of money on coping with a problem. but we will not spend as much money, time, and investment in actually doing the hard work to solve certain problems. This is a known fact, and this is why our demographic looks so bad by comparison to so many others. Yes, racism, slavery, Jim Crow, yes, we were denied a lot of resources. But you also have to look at the side of almost every institution we have helps us cope as opposed to actually providing practical solutions. And as long as we keep funding coping mechanisms, then that's what we're going to continue to have. For all the hoopla and loudness and noise, we went out and said Black Lives Matter, and they do. This is without controversy. And somehow the number of young black men killing each other tipped up to 25 times per day, and the number of black men killing black women tipped up to 4 times per day. And the number of police officers killing black people did not diminish significantly. So if you want, to me, it's worth $90 million and more that Derek Chauvin is going to be behind bars for 22 and a half years. But that doesn't bring anybody back, nor does it protect the next person. There have been plenty of cases since then. I would break off part of that $90 million for Amber Geiger to maybe have had a little bit more time for what she did. But that's not how that worked out. And I will say in all fairness that police officers who were video clearly crossing the line have gotten convicted a little bit more often. But $90 million worth of change? I don't think so. I don't think the families of any of these victims would say it was, since their communities and their families did not get any of this to help benefit their community and keep the next set of younger black people from getting into these situations. Before you give your money, your time, your energy, one of the pieces of wisdom you need to hear is a practical solution. Don't let people chew your ears off about a problem. They ought to be able to come across with, and here's what we're doing this in this locale. And then let you see evidence, go through the process of discovery. Because otherwise we're always gonna end up sitting here like, they were doing what? Because nobody asked any questions early enough. And so now we're all out here trying to figure out what the heck is going on and looking stupid. Not necessarily you or me, but all these arguments that are going, this is going to be fed into the whole manosphere versus BWE. See, black women, well, we're going to walk away from you anyway, so we ain't never going to do it for you. Blah, 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 blah. And still, the problems are not solved. $90 million, God. Want to avoid that? Start listening for solutions, and when you do not hear a solution, then you keep your wallet closed and you keep your feet to moving. And if enough of us do that in enough places, a lot of cons and grifts will stop. Or at least you can control you being the victim, which is really all I'm really talking about today. Listen for wisdom, and part of wisdom is practical solutions. Do not let a small version of the Black Lives Matter Civil War, in essence, be the fate of your money getting caught up. All that money they about to spend on lawyers, for that matter. It does not have to happen to you. Listen for practical solutions when people are busy talking about problems. You don't hear a solution. You don't hear a solution that makes sense when you kind of compare it to how people solve problems like that in the real world. Snap, walk, bye. Thank you for listening.